Okay, we are ready to start putting things together here to start really building our half double crochet washcloth. So we're going to start by chaining 28, and then we're going to work half double crochet stitches back and forth for this entire washcloth. Now the width that we have here, and I always say about because it's going to depend on the tension that you have. The tighter your stitches, it's going to kind of squish this together. The looser your stitches, it might be a little bit further apart. But for 28 stitches comfortably on our crochet hook, we should get about 8 inches wide. Okay, and then working the rows, I have mine at about 7.5. Now you can add or subtract rows depending on the size that you want. I usually like to put it make it the size so that my hand can fit on it comfortably, so I can use it as a regular washcloth. And I think you're gonna love it. These are my favorite washcloths. I don't buy regular washcloths anymore. I only make mine, and I make them just like this. So so I'm gonna put this aside now, and we're gonna kind of show the process. So what I've done is I have already worked my 28 chain stitches for the width of this washcloth. Okay, and I've got my loop at the end here, so my 28th chain was right there. I am going to work my first half double crochet and all the way along this row into the second chain from my hook. Okay, so I'm going to get my yarn in place here, wrap around, and as I look, my first chain is coming right underneath where I'm pulling my loop up through. That's the first chain. I want to go in the second chain. Now, as we talked about these V's, there's like a top V and a bottom V. That top V is considered, like they call it the top bump, and this is the bottom bump. So we're going to work into that top V or the top bump. Now, to start my half double crochet, I'm going to yarn over first, and then I'm going to stick it into that top V, that top bump of that second chain from my hook. I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to pull that through, rotate it down, remember, pull it through, and then bring it up and push your hook through until you've got it in the larger part of that barrel. That'll set the size of that loop so that then when I yarn over and I pull through all 3 loops, get through here. Now just be careful not to split the yarn, okay? If you do, you just kind of go back and do it again. But now I've got just 1 loop on my hook, so I finished that stitch, as we know. Now I'm going to yarn over again, and I'm going to go into my next chain. So let's kind of see where that is. So I went into this one. Now this is going to be the spot that I'm going to go into. Okay, so let me get back on here. Yarn over to start the half double crochet stitch. I'm going to go into that top V, top bump. I'm going to yarn over and pull it through, and I'm going to have 3 loops on my barrel. I'm going to yarn over again, and I'm going to pull through all 3 loops. Yarn over, I'm going to go in to my next stitch, yarn over, pull up that loop, the third. I've got 3 of them now on my barrel. Yarn over again, and now I'm going to pull through all 3 at once. Yarn over, go into my work on the next stitch, yarn over, pull up that 3rd loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3. Now, something that's common for early crocheters is to get tight, okay? Try as hard as you can to always pull that loop over and even have a little bit of slack in there, okay? Try to stay relaxed. A tension on your string, but a little bit relaxed here because otherwise, if you're always fighting with the stitch, it's hard then to get into the next one as well. So we want to have them nice and even, but we want our hook to set the size, okay? So yarn over, go into that next stitch, that next chain, yarn over, pull up that loop, get it on that wider part of the barrel. Notice I'm not stuck in there. I'm easily going back and forth. There's a little bit of room. Yarn over and pull through all 3. when you pull through, always kind of, you know, pull and rotate down so it pulls through nicely. Because your loop, the largest part of your loop is on the top here, the smallest part is on the bottom, and that's where that hook can pull through easily, okay? So let's do one more here and then we'll look at what we've got. So yarn over, go into that next chain. Whoops, come on, get in there. Ah. Let me start that over. Yarn over, go into that next chain. There it is. Yarn over, pull it through, all three, yarn over, and pull through all three one more time. Okay, so let's take a peek at what we got here. We're moving along here, and we've got started with those half double crochets. Now what we're going to do is we're going to continue on, okay? So what I'm going to have you do is practice. Go all the way until you get to about 2 to 3 stitches from the end, okay? I'm going to have you stop the video right now, and you're going to fill those in. And you're going to get to a point where you are going to look just like this, okay? So here's my end over here. I filled in all these half double crochets, and I've got 1, 2, 3 left, okay? So when you get to this point, start the video back up, okay? Now I'm going to put my hook back in here, and I'm going to get my yarn on my hands, and I'm going to work these last 3 half double crochets. So I'm going to yarn over, I'm going to go into my next stitch, my next chain, yarn over, pull up that loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3. Okay, yarn over, go into the next chain, yarn over, pull up that 3rd loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3. Now I've got one more to go on this row. There's one more chain there. Yarn over, half double crochet. We got to start with that yarn over, go into that last chain, yarn over again, pull up, get that 3rd loop, yarn over, and pull through. Okay, so now I've completed all the stitches. Let's count. It's important. 27 is our magic number, okay? So now on my loop here, I'm not going to count the loop, but I'm going to count the one at the base here. So that's my first one. So this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. And don't forget number 27 is the one that's rounding the corner there. It's not quite on top because it truly is rounding the corner, but we will be utilizing that stitch as our 27th stitch when we end that row. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to chain 2, 1, 2, and we're going to turn our work. Okay, we're going to turn our work. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go into, now here, right here are my 2 chains, and my first stitch that I'm going to go into is right at the base right there. Okay, so I'm going to kind of put this on its side, and the first one that I'm going to go into is right there. Then the next one is going to be here and here, and those are the sides of the top of the chain, and I'm going to go in underneath that full V. Okay, so I'm going to go back in here. I'm going to yarn over to start, and I'm going to go into the base of that first one. Yarn over, pull up, and I'm going to pull through all 3. Yarn over, go into the next one, full V underneath here. You see I'm going in both of them. Yarn over, pull up that 3rd loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3. Okay, yarn over, go into the next one, underneath both V's. I should say both sides of the V. It's a V. Yarn over, pull up that 3rd loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3. So let's kind of see what we've got here again. Pulling that up. My next one I'm going to go into is here. Next one's here, 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 and so on. And each time I go in, I'm going to go underneath both of the sides of that V. Okay. yarn over, go in underneath both, yarn over, pull up, yarn over, pull through all three, yarn over, go in, yarn over, pull up, go in all three. There we go. Yarn over, go in, yarn over, pull up, all three. Yarn over, go in, yarn over, all three. Okay. Yarn over, go in, yarn over, all three. Yarn over, go in, yarn over, all three. Okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to continue working back and forth. What I want to point out at the end of this row, okay, because this is the end of that second row, we're going to go all the way to the end, and this one that's coming up around the corner here, that is your last stitch. It's the last V in the row. Do not go then into the curly Q on the end here, only the full V. Once you get in here, then count back to this last one and say, oh, is my last V the 27th stitch? Okay, if it's the 27th stitch, then you did good. If it's the 26th, then you need to add one somewhere, okay? If it's 29, then take one off, all right? So make sure that your magic number is 27 as you go back and forth. Okay, so I'm gonna let you work as tall as you want, and we will meet up on our last video in this series where we're going to finish off and weave in our ends. Okay, all right, happy crocheting. I'll see you soon.